MECE and OKRs. What is MECE? MECE is a well-known principle from the consulting industry, and it is an abbreviation, and it stands for mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. And this MECE principle can help us to create better key results, and I'd like to show you how we can do this. So let's dive into a short example from geometry first. Let's imagine that this blue structure here stands for a big issue you have to tackle. And of course you can do it all at once, and what you have to do first is you have to divide this shape into sub-parts. And then, of course, one after the other, you can solve all these sub-parts, and then there's one thing left to do. You have to reassemble the sub-parts. And there are a lot of mistakes to be made by reassembling the structure. And here is my suggestion how I did it. What do you think of it? Have I done a good job? Well, I don't think so. In fact, I created a mess. And the reason why I created a mess are two kinds of mistakes. Of course, we all know the initial structure was more closed, and this structure is some kind of fancy. And there are two important kind of mistakes I made. One kind of mistake I made is I created gaps in between the subparts. And the second kind of mistake I made is I created overlaps where no should be. And as we all know, the proper structure would look like this, but for now we can assume that MECE is something like an art of avoiding gaps and overlaps. We can understand MECE as the art of splitting things down, dividing it into subparts, solving all the subparts, and then reassembling the whole structure. And let's now apply this knowledge to our OKRs. So my OKR set here is objective. Our onboarding process is fully digital. A very important topic these days, because a lot of companies do not want their new workforce to travel long distance just to get a first impression about the company. And key result number one here is record 12 videos from various company topics. Because with a video you can get a very quick access to how the people will look like, how the workplace will look like, and of course how the people behave and interact and so on. But maybe you will forget about everything after a short while, and therefore I created key result number 2. Key result number 2 is create matching queries and guessing games for all videos. Because if you have to answer some questions about the video, you will be forced to take a very close look at the videos, and maybe you will watch them twice just to answer the questions. And of course there might be some more key results here, which are not so important by now. We want to focus on key result number 1 and 2. And if you take a closer look at key result number 2 and 1, you will detect a mistake I made, a so-called MECE mistake. So in fact, key result number 1 and 2, they are overlapping. Why? Because you cannot start with key result number 2 unless there's some progress made on key result number 1. Maybe you need 1, 2 or all videos just to create good games. And therefore, this is not agile. You cannot start immediately with key result number 1 and 2. What I created here is traditional project management, because you need key result number 1 first and then start with key result number 2. And this is completely against the OKR principle, which is an agile principle, which means starting immediately at the first day of the quarter with every key result. And therefore we have to solve it. And here comes my solution. Create 6 videos from topic A and matching games, and create, of course, 6 videos from topic number B and create matching queries and guessing games. So as you can see here, you can start immediately with key result number 2, And with key result number 1, there are no dependencies between these two key results, and we call it they are mutually exclusive. Key result number 1 has to be mutually exclusive, number 2 has to be mutually exclusive, and of course every other key result have to follow this principle too. So this is the first part of the MECE principle, mutually exclusive, and there's a second part. 2 words are missing, and this is an easy one, of course. We now have to zoom out of the individual key result, and what you have to ask yourself now is, are my key results as a whole, are they all together capable of reaching the objective? And if the answer is yes, then your key results together are collectively exhaustive. And this is the second part of the MECE principle. So you have to always ask yourself when designing, when crafting key results, are my key results MECE? And what you need is 2 yeses. Yes, my key results are mutually exclusive. They do not depend on each other. And yes, my key results altogether are collectively exhaustive. And if you have 2 yeses, you have done a really good job.